Before the sentence was spoken, the federal courtroom carried the weight of a much larger American conflict. This was not only about one man, one case, or one act of sabotage. It was about the old tension at the heart of the United States, a nation born from rebellion, yet governed by law. A country that celebrates those who challenge power in the past, while often punishing those who challenge it in the present. By 2007, America was living in the shadow of the war on terror, and the word terrorism had become one of the most powerful labels the government could use. At the same time, environmental conflicts across the country were growing more intense, as activists argued that forests, water, land, and climate were being sacrificed for corporate profit. The lights in the courtroom seemed to tremble before Judge Ann Aiken's gavel struck the bench. The crack of wood against wood echoed through a nation that has always told stories about audacity. Americans remember rebels throwing tea into Boston Harbor, abolitionists breaking unjust laws, suffragists enduring prison cells, soldiers crossing oceans to fight fascism, and astronauts planting a flag on the moon. But on that summer morning, the country faced a darker version of that same national myth. Daniel McGowan, an ordinary young man from Brooklyn who had become part of a radical environmental underground, stood in federal court to receive 7 years in prison for crimes that harmed no human life, but caused millions of dollars in damage to corporate and industrial property. To prosecutors, this was terrorism. To supporters, it was political resistance. To the government, it was a warning that had to be crushed before it spread. To understand why the sentence mattered, you have to understand the Earth Liberation Front. It was not a normal organization with leaders, offices, or membership cards. It operated through scattered underground cells that believed legal protest had failed. Courts were too slow, petitions could be ignored, public hearings could be dismissed, and peaceful activists could be arrested and forgotten. So the ELF chose sabotage against property as its language. Its members claimed they did not want to harm people, only to impose a financial cost on industries they believed were destroying the natural world. But in America, fire changes everything. Once buildings burn, nuance disappears. The government does not see symbolism. The media sees flames. The public sees fear. And political dissent can quickly become a national security case. That question does not begin with Daniel McGowan, and it does not end with him. It sits at the center of American history like a live wire. The United States praises rebels in textbooks, but often punishes rebels in real time. It turns yesterday's lawbreakers into statues, while today's dissenters face surveillance, indictments, and prison sentences. Daniel McGowan and the Earth Liberation Front stepped directly into that dangerous space. They asked whether legality was enough when the consequences reached beyond one generation. They asked whether property should be treated as sacred when land, water, climate, and the living world were treated as expendable. And when they decided the normal channels had failed, they moved underground. The government's answer came through Operation Backfire and the Green Scare. Federal agents moved across states, old comrades were arrested, defendants were pressured, and prosecutors worked to turn the ELF from a radical environmental underground into a symbol of domestic terrorism. In doing so, the state drew a hard boundary around acceptable dissent. Marches, speeches, lawsuits, and organizing could exist inside the system. But property destruction, especially against industries tied to money and infrastructure, brought a much heavier response. Terrorism enhancements, long sentences, surveillance, and special prison units designed to restrict communication. Americans have always wrestled with this contradiction. The same Constitution that allows judges to punish saboteurs also protects speakers, journalists, organizers, filmmakers, voters, and citizens who believe the country can be better than the systems currently ruling it. In that tension, between property and planet, order and justice, security and conscience, lies the beating heart of the Republic. The story you are about to witness does not offer easy heroes or clean villains. It offers a warning about what happens when a society delays action until the desperate begin to act alone. Listen closely to the roar of those flames, not because flames should be admired, but because they reveal what words failed to prevent. And beneath the smoke, one American question still burns. When the future is on trial, who gets to hold the gavel, who gets called dangerous, and who gets to decide what truly threatens the nation's soul?